Okay, hello, how you doing?
I'm alright, and you?
Okay, what is your name?
I am Takara Bey.
Okay, and what borough do you live in?
I'm at Brooklyn, New York.
In Brooklyn. Okay, so why did you come to FPA Foundation today?
I came here to contribute, to become a part of a movement that is doing something that's going to effectively change what's happening with the families in our community.
Okay, could you share your experience about dealing with the ACS and the child welfare system?
Sure. My experience goes back far to when I was a baby. I was a kindred child in the foster care system. I stayed with my elder aunt until I was 12. Then I stayed with my mother for a couple of years and then went into foster care, where I stayed in group homes and mother and childs. And that experience was a very lonely experience when I hit the teenage years. There wasn't people there to really deal with what I was feeling with inside. I overcame it, but it was very challenging. I grew up, of course. I'm 31 now. I have a teenager of my own, and my children were affected by the foster care system. And the reason why they were affected is because of my past. And looking at that and experiencing that, it seems as if there is strategic things put into place designed to work against our people and our families. And those things need to come to an end.
Okay, could you talk about a little experience about your son being in foster care?
Yes, my son was separated from me twice. Actually, 3 times. The first time he was separated from me was when he was a young child. It was a miscommunication. A family member was trying to get custody of him. They felt as a teen mother that they could better provide for him than I could. They called and put a false case against me. They started an investigation. The investigation, one of the stipulations was I had to communicate with the person that was investigating. They told me to contact the county. That's how they said it to me. I didn't know what that meant. So when I moved from one shelter to another shelter with my son, I contacted the county, but it wasn't the county person that I had to. So being that that was done, they put in a judgment with the court to remove him whenever they found me. So this was in Buffalo, New York. They found me in another family shelter because there was issues I was having in the first family shelter. When they found me, the caseworker apologized but told me that she couldn't do anything because the judge had already signed the order. So they removed my son and put him in a foster home for several months. They gave me Section 8. They returned him back to me. There was no dealings with the foster care agency for over 10 years. How I came back in contact with them, I had another child. She went into a diabetic coma unexpectedly in our home without being diagnosed with diabetes. And the foster care agency said that it's procedure with every fatality that happens to a child that they have to do an investigation. So they opened up an investigation on me because we didn't know immediately why she passed away. It took 6 weeks to find out why she passed away. When they opened up this investigation on me, they discovered that I was in the system from my previous dealings being a foster child. When they saw that, they used that to justify them removing my son away from me. So a tragedy happens, they separate, a mother loses one child, they snatch another child out of the home saying that it was part of their procedure, and basically just left me there to figure out what I needed to do. My son, as a result, he stayed separated from me for 8 months. After the autopsy was done, I went and picked up the autopsy myself. I brought it to the foster care agency myself.
What was the name of the agency?
St. Vincent Services.
In what borough?
Brooklyn, New York, Montague Street.
Okay.
I brought it to the caseworker. I demanded that they release him to me. They told me it doesn't work like that. They have to go to court. Now, I will say as a mother, I was grievous. I did threaten to sue these people. When I threatened to sue these people, they looked at me as an opponent. They didn't treat me as a mother. They didn't treat me as a human being. They didn't do any of that. They treated me as an opponent. They were very vicious in their dealings to me. They wanted me to go to parenting, even though there was no concern with my parenting skills. They wanted me to, I don't even know what the other things they asked me to do, to tell you the truth, because it's been 4 years now since that incident. But what I'm dealing with at this time is my teenager, because he was separated from me at a very tragic time where he needed the most to be with me so that he could be consoled, so that he could get the therapy, so that we can grieve together as a family. We were denied that. And we had all these other people that we did not know that was separating us and telling us this and telling us that. Eventually they returned him to me. And when they did return him to me, he was damaged when they returned him to me. He had made associations outside of the home with gang members. He had been exposed to different sexual activities. He had been abused in the several homes that he was in. He was in 5 different homes. One home, the guy choked him, literally, and they had to physically immediately remove him. They never pressed charges on this person. All they did was take the children out of the home temporarily, made the mother, because it was the foster mother's boyfriend who did it, get rid of him, and then they put the kids right back into the home. They never charged her anything, and that was unfair.
What message would you like to share with the public advocate Letitia James, the ACS Commissioner Gladys Carry-On, the elected officials, about your experience as a parent dealing with the child welfare system?
I want to share with them that this is serious. This is affecting our young men. This is affecting our young ladies. This is not just something to push around and put to the side. They are in the position to help us. They are in the position to make changes. They must make the changes that need to be done. It's enough. We're doing enough cleaning up. The crime, the teenage pregnancy, all of these things are because of what's going wrong in these agencies that's designed to help the families. They're there to help us. They're not there to separate us. And they already done all the studies. They know that when you're separating a mother from their child, you're doing more harm to the mother and also to the child. So we can avoid these things. Instead of worrying about how we gonna fix them, let's avoid them. Let's not create the issues that are prevalent. Let's correct them and erase them and have a better agency to actually support families, because we do need some support now and then. It does take a village to raise a child. Not no one person, not no 2 people can do it. It takes a village, because 1 person or 2 people cannot be where that child is at all times. We rely on our police officers, we rely on our doctors, we rely on our school teachers, we rely on all of them. So we all need to work together, and whatever position we have, we need to do what must be done to fix it.
What message would you like to share with other parents out there?
I want the parents to know that they're not alone. You know, it feels lonely sometimes when you're dealing with this, because they have, you know, their supervisor, they got their lawyers, they got the worker, you know, they got this advocate that works for them, and all these different people have one mission, and that's to keep the company running smoothly. Okay, that mission is not really to help you or to help your child. They want to keep their job so they can feed their children. They're concerned about themselves, not realizing that we all are affected by this. Because my child might go through the system and be jacked up, but he might be right next to your child on the train. You know what I'm saying? So they cannot have that as their focus. You understand? The child must come first. The family must come first. That has to be what they focus on.
So what would you advise a parent to do if they're in this situation?
To keep on. You know, parenting doesn't end. You don't clock in, you don't clock out. It's something that you do 24/7. There's no breaks in parenting. As soon as you decide that you're going to carry that child and you're going to push that child out and bring it into the world, you on duty all the time. So you can't give up when you go through a challenge. You have to keep on. And if you get tired, you know, you take care of yourself. That's number one. Okay, as a parent, I learned that. That's number one, because I was putting so much into trying to do for my son that I began to slack off as a parent, and that affected the things that I needed to do. So you have to, as a parent, make sure you take care of yourself. Eat. Even though it's hard to eat when your child is out there with God knows who doing God knows what. Feed yourself, take care of yourself, love yourself, and continue to love your child. Don't listen to what people tell you. Listen to your gut, do what's in your heart, and keep on fighting for your child, because you brought that child in the world and you're responsible for them.
What changes do you think need to be made at this particular time with the foster care agencies?
There's a lot of changes that need to be made. First of all, the people that deal directly with the families need to be properly trained. Okay? They shouldn't just do a little couple of years and be faced with all these issues that we're dealing with. Okay? We're dealing with a lot of different issues on a lot of different levels in our communities, and they have to be aware of that. They have to be conscious of that. They cannot automatically be trained to think that the parents are the issue here, or even that the children are the issue once they come to a certain age, because it switches. Like in my situation, it went from them accusing me of being negligent to them accusing my child of being a delinquent. Well, why are you accusing us of anything? Okay, if there's an issue and we need support, then support us. But if not, don't point the finger and say that, you know what I'm saying, we are something that we're not. We all human beings, you know. So, I think parents just need to do what they need to do, and the social workers need to know what it is to be a parent. They don't need to read that in a book. They need to experience parenthood, because parenthood, even though they have these books now, they really don't address everything that you're going to come up against. There's different stages in the child development. When they're a certain age, you have these issues. When they get bigger, you got bigger issues. And they have to be trained how to deal with those issues, and how to deal with people, and how to deal with the issues that's in the community. You have people in the community don't know where they're going to live at, don't know what they're going to eat, don't know how they're going to wash their clothes. These are things that are happening in our community, and they need to be aware of that. It's not like they're coming into a gated community where, you know, everybody has their degree. Even the people with degrees don't have jobs, okay? So it's not even an issue of education. It's an issue of this not being dealt with how they should be dealt with. And they have to be aware of those things, you know? They have to be aware. They have to know what they're dealing with so that they can better assist them.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time and your interview.
Thank you.